everybody, this is Eric Worre. Welcome to networkmarketingpro.com. I'm here with one of the industry legends, Mr. Nathan Ricks, and we're here in St. George, Utah. Braved the snow and the bluffs and the cliffs, proving that I'll go to the ends of the earth in order to be able to bring you awesome information. And this gentleman has been one of the true rock stars in our profession. He's earned over $40 million in commissions as a distributor. And first of all, thank you for taking the time.
You're welcome.
I appreciate it very much. Just kind of start off, one of the things I love about our profession is we get to do and see things that other people don't get to do and see. So what's one thing in the last 12 months that that you've been able to experience that maybe might be interesting or other people might enjoy experiencing?
Eric, yeah, first of all, thanks for coming down here. It is the end of the earth.
Yes, I know.
It's one of those beautiful places that we get to hide out because we do this business.
Right.
Because we can live where we want to live, and we don't have to live in these metropolises.
Right.
So anyway, that's why we hang out here. I think in the last year, one of the things that has been most rewarding to me, most satisfying for me, is we all have these personal goals, and one thing that's completely outside of the business, completely outside of most other things you do, is that I've become a pilot. So
Okay.
I'm really into flying.
Right.
And I've been bitten by the bug.
Yes.
Really bad.
Yes.
And so I've had this goal to basically fly my own airplane.
Right.
And I've been flying small airplanes, but I also bought a jet.
Really?
So I use that to get around and do my presentations around the country and so forth. When you live in a small town, one of the downsides, besides the upsides of all the beauty in the small town, is that air connections aren't that great.
Right.
So basically, we don't worry about that anymore. We just go wherever we want to go direct, and then we come back here.
So what kind of jet do you have?
It's a Citation, Cessna Citation.
Nice. So how fast does it go?
400 and something miles an hour, whatever.
And seats how many?
We can take 9 total with the pilots.
I'm so jealous.
But anyway, the key has been to learn to do that single pilot.
Yeah.
And there's a few jets that you can get a single pilot rating in, and this is one of them. And so that's been a goal of mine, is to be able to do it all by myself. And
Sure.
and it's busy, when you're
Right.
in a jet and it's going real fast, and
Right.
you got airspace and you got approaches and airports and things.
How
So,
far is the jet from your house here?
it's about 10 minutes.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
No,
No security. Don't have to go through the lines.
Yeah, you have your own security at the gates of the airport, but it's a card, and
Right.
you're in, and you get in your hangar.
Pretty
and,
nice.
Open it up and go.
I'm completely jealous. I'm
fun.
behind you a little bit, but I'm
It's
coming.
fun.
Some questions for you today. First of all, we both of us are big fans of the network marketing profession. We think it's the best way there is to live. But it's true that there's misconceptions around the world about our profession. What do you think is one of the biggest misconceptions about our profession?
Well, obviously the biggest one is people say, well, that's a pyramid scheme, and certainly, there are people out there that would want to operate a pyramid scheme.
Sure.
Bernard Madoff is one, and
Right.
there's others, that do it in a really big way.
Right.
Network marketing people that are ill-informed or maybe even dishonest do it in a smaller way.
Right.
But nevertheless, pyramids are illegal in every state I know of and every country I know of. And the difference is that if you can find a great company, you can find honest people,
Right.
and you can end up finding products that are real,
Right.
then you can build a real business. And that's where I think the public gets confused. And part of the problem is the industry's confused with it.
Sure.
Unfortunately.
Sure.
There's
Been a few people out there that have gone out there.
We always say network marketing done wrong is
Yeah.
your worst nightmare.
Yeah.
Network marketing done right is a fairy tale.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you got to find it and find the way that it's done right. And that comes down to management, company, a product line that's for real. Those key things. Compensation plan that's within the bounds that have been set out there. Those are the key components to find one that's real.
So what would you say to the people who are perpetuating this? I mean, there's all this online, people are going crazy online, they're pitching their stuff, they're telling their stories. What would you say to some of the people that are perpetuating this misconception that you're talking about?
Here, talk right there. Let's kill this. Then we're not going to cut that.
Okay.
Hey guys, we're just recording in here, so okay. Sorry about that. I should have closed that door to begin with. Cool. Okay, let's pick it up there.
So, what would you say to the? Sorry. So, what would you say to the people who are perpetuating the misconceptions out there in the marketplace?
Well, I hate them.
Yeah.
You know, they ruin a great industry. They ruin what can be the greatest industry.
Right.
And it's unfortunate. And it's just, you know, it's up to us in the industry, I think, to expose that and educate people so they know the difference.
Right.
Otherwise, we end up with the black eye, and we get thrown out with the baby with the bathwater.
Right.
And that's really unfortunate, because this industry done right is so great, and it can change people's lives to such a degree that you know, people need to understand it.
I completely agree. Well, here's a question for you. There's so many, but I think the DSA says there's 67 million people involved in the direct selling, you know, in companies around the world. You've made $40 million in commissions in the 20-some years that you know, a little bit more than 20 years that you've been involved with the profession. What makes you so special? I mean, everybody out there wants to have the results. They want to have the private jet. They want to live in an amazing house. They want to be able to kind of have the lifestyle stuff too. What makes you different than the other people in the profession that don't have the results that you have?
Well, there's, you know, I'm no different than anybody else. You know, that's one of the misconceptions, is people think somebody.
But you have to be somehow.
People think though that, you know, well, they jump into their pants both legs at a time in the morning, and they're somehow superhuman, or they're better or different. And that's not really true. I think the only place that people that are really successful might be different than the masses is that they know how to, you know, two things. One, they know how to focus on something, on one thing, and they know how to commit to that. Okay, and then they just stay consistent in that commitment. And
so focus and consistency, really?
Yeah, really. I think that's really it. You know, of course, you've got to have, you know, the right vehicle and the right company and the right
assuming that's all that
you've got
stuff.
The opportunity that's all equal. The thing that separates two people would be that one person is very focused. They know how to focus, and that's really hard for, you know, entrepreneurial people to do, or people that even have ADD.
Right.
Which I think a lot of people in my group have.
Right.
And that's okay. I mean, you know, the people that didn't fit the regular corporate environment, they couldn't put up with all the baloney and the memos and the politics, you know, they were looking for a better way to utilize their energy and their skills and their talent. And that's great. And I think a lot of that kind of personality gravitates towards what we do because it suits them so well. They're so good at it, fits their personality. But the fact is, they have a hard time putting the blinders on. And when you make a decision, you know, the biggest thing that's really critical is you got to put the blinders on. It's like a horse that has blinders on so he's not distracted and looking all over the place. You want to just get focused on that one objective and then be absolutely consistent every day. And that's the biggest thing people can't do. You know, people say, well, I'm committed. They don't even know what it means when they say the word to be committed, you know. I mean, people don't know commitment. They don't know what it means to do that.
Yeah, they're looking for, well, don't you think that so many people come in with this lottery mentality, you know, hoping to get in quick before their neighbor does? They're not necessarily learning the skills.
Well, that mentality is appropriate in a pyramid scheme where you've got to be the first one in.
Sure.
But with this company I'm with, I didn't join until it was 5 years old.
Right.
I wouldn't even look at one unless it's 5 years old because they don't even know. They don't know if they can even pay the plan they promised.
Exactly.
Right? So for me, I think once you've decided, it doesn't really matter how old the company is or any of that stuff. That's really immaterial. What matters truly is, can you really focus and can you really be committed?
Let me ask you what you mean by that, because focus and consistency, I would agree with that. With the same thing with me. I've had the ability to do that, and I know many of the other top leaders that I've talked to have the same ability. Assuming that people pick a good company and they've got good products and good compensation, and all that stuff's solid. Assuming that, when you say focus on what?
Well, you got to just be focused on meeting the objectives of the compensation plan.
Okay.
You got to be focused on people. You know, that's the key component here. Those are the assets of your business.
Right.
Are your key downline distributors. And so what you have to do is be really focused and really consistent. And the problem is that people will be consistent for a week.
Right.
Then they get blown off course, you know. And life happens to everybody. You know, problems, you know, work problems, children problems, divorce, you know, failures, deaths, you know, disappointments. That's life. That's going to happen to everybody. Can you focus through those bumps in the road that happen to everybody? Or are you going to get bumped out of the cart and then be back to regular life? And then you have to say, so So what's different now? So
Right.
you're going to go back to a job. You're going to go back to, where does that go?
Right.
That doesn't go anywhere.
Right.
That's not really. That's just treading water and paying your bills, and
Right.
you're never really making any real progress, right? And the key, Eric, I think, is that we need to know and expect that most people are going to quit. You kind of have to expect that
Just because they can't focus.
Well, half the people can't even keep the main commitment they make in their life, and that's to get married.
Right.
They quit that.
Okay.
Half of them. So what makes you think they're going to stick in your network marketing business?
Right. I got it.
Right? And so people are going to quit. Most of them are going to quit because most people can't focus and they can't be consistent.
Be consistent.
Right.
That's now, you mentioned talking about that people were the real aspect of your business.
Right.
Some people focus just on recruiting. Bring them in, and let the chips fall where they may. Other people are bring them in, nurture, leadership development, relationship building, those types of things. Where do you fall?
That's absolutely the second one. I mean, it requires focus and commitment on their part, and if I don't see that out of a person, I don't waste a lot of time.
Yeah.
I can't make them, be ready at the right time of their life. I look at it like 12 o'clock straight up is when they're ready.
Right.
And some people, you talk to them and they're at 3 o'clock, and some are at 6 o'clock, and some are at 9 o'clock, and some are at 11 o'clock, but they're still not at 12 o'clock.
Right.
So I'm just going to go, when I recruit, I'm going to talk to enough people that I hit them right at 12 o'clock when they're ready. And I can't make it 12 o'clock in their life. I can just find them at 12 o'clock.
Sure.
Okay? So once I find them at 12 o'clock, then what I do...
Wait, back up for a second, because I think that's an awesome point that you made, is you're not going to make them be 12 o'clock. You're not going to make them...
You can't.
You're not going to convince them that it's 12 o'clock for them.
Right.
You're going to talk to enough people that you will find somebody that's at 12 o'clock. That's a fascinating concept.
Well, and I think everybody gets at 12 o'clock at some point or another in their life. That you have to wait for that to happen. So that's why people have to be talking to enough people and just having the conversation.
Right.
And if they're 11 o'clock, put them in the file and call them back in 6 months, call them back in a year. Some of my best people, it took me 5 years to get them in.
Sure.
5 years of recruiting them.
Wow.
That's okay. I just, I'm not going anywhere, and I know that eventually they'll be at 12 o'clock.
And hopefully you're talking to them.
Yeah.
That's what I see so many amateurs do. They talk to somebody once, and because they're not at 12 o'clock, the person says, yeah, it's not a good time. And then they never, ever talk to them again, or they get mad at them and close the door, they hurt the relationship.
Right. Or they're offended because somehow they're insecure enough, and the person said, I'm not ready, or it's not the time for me, or I'm not interested,
Sure.
None of that means anything. They'll eventually get there. What do they have? They got nothing. They got a job, maybe.
Right.
But they'll probably lose anyway, or they're not going to stick with it anyway. They're not going to have any future anyway. They're just renting their life to somebody. Okay?
Right.
So eventually you got the gold.
Sure.
They're going to want what you've got eventually once they finally mature enough right here personally in their personal financial progress that they finally realize that they got to do their own thing. They got to have something for them. That's the only security they're ever going to have, So that's the key, is just to realize you can't make it 12 o'clock. You just got to find them at 12 o'clock. Then once you do find them, then the key really is, if they're serious and they're committed, you owe it to them. If they're going to make that kind of commitment and really demonstrate that focus, they're making life decisions. You owe it to them to really do all you can to help them build a group.
So the real key is, if somebody is focused and consistent, that they demonstrate that to you. They come in.
That's right.
And if they demonstrate to you that they're focused and consistent
by their actions,
by
calling me every day. I have to call them every time. They calling me. They're bringing
Do you
people
tell
to
them
me.
to call you every day?
Absolutely.
Okay.
When
and
I sponsor somebody, it's a partnership. And I say, look, you could never afford to hire me. You couldn't afford my hourly wage.
I love that.
But I'll work for you for free as long as you do these things.
And what are the things you ask them to do?
You're focused, you're committed, you call me every day. We're going to get you to leadership immediately, as fast as we can in the next several months, okay? And what I want is I don't want you to even look sideways for a year. Not even one hint of it.
Right.
If you call me 3 months in and you got that nasal tone in your voice, Nathan, it's really hard, I don't know. I'm pretty much going to give you dial tone.
Right.
because I don't have time.
Right.
You
It's
know?
1 year commitment.
You got to be focused. You got to be serious. You got to be committed. You got to call me every day. You got to be putting people in front of me. We got to be doing launch calls, launch meetings at your house. We'll start to travel to your group wherever it starts to develop, and we're going to chase the business.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to chase that business through those lines of people, and we're going to develop dynasties.
And that's got to give them lots of security, knowing that you're going to be there to help them, and you're giving them a little bit of direction.
If they'll do that, we know they can do it. We know they'll make it.
Yeah.
But the price might be too high for some people.
Right.
That's okay.
Well, the focus and consistency is too high a price, like you said, for most.
What's the high price?
Right.
The real high price is you spend 40 years between 15 different companies, and you have nothing, and your life's gone, and you've rented your whole life to somebody else for nothing, to start over every January. That's zero.
Yeah.
That's no way to live. With all the uncertainty, all the politics, all the baloney, never being paid what you're worth, those are the real risks.
Oh, for sure.
The real risk isn't doing a business like this and even failing in one of them.
Yeah.
And trying to learn how to do it.
Right.
And then try it again, until you figure it out, until you change enough that you can figure it out.
But what we talk about on the show all the time is becoming a network marketing professional, not just a network marketing distributor. A network marketing professional is somebody who's coming in, going to learn a profession, going to develop some skills, going to
like anything else.
Yeah.
There's a set of skills you got to develop.
What do you think are some of the key skills that somebody has to develop?
Well, the key skill for anybody in this business, the thing they're going to do 90% of the time is recruit.
Right.
So the key skill is learning to talk to people.
Right.
And some people have a hard time doing that.
Yeah.
And so I tell people, if you're an introvert, you got to become an extrovert.
Yeah.
Or you're not going to make it.
Or at least, I'm a fairly introverted person. I just learned to fake it in those moments. Kind of psych myself up for those moments.
So for me, it's not even so much faking it. I'm kind of introverted too.
Yeah.
But it's that you care about people.
No.
If you love people, you'll do okay.
Right.
That's really it. And if you have a hard time saying hi, tell them walk around the whole week and just everybody you see make eye contact and go hi. Hi, hi, how you doing? Learn to say hi to people. Some people have never done it.
Right.
The next week, add a sentence to it. Hi, how are you?
Right.
Hi, how are you? Hi, how are you? And then add another sentence. And just get to where you can talk to people.
But if people are focused on developing that skill versus hoping to get lucky inside of our profession.
It is so easy to do this if you're willing to talk to people. And don't take anything personal. I just want to get into a conversation. I might not even try to recruit you.
Sure.
I'm just trying to find out if you're at 12 o'clock or not.
No, I love that.
That's all I'm trying to do. I'm in a conversation. And it won't even take, if you're at 12 o'clock, it won't even take 5 minutes when you'll say, yeah, I'm pretty sick of what I'm doing, or my boss is driving me crazy, or my back's killing me and I need something. Or they'll open the door wide open within 5 minutes if they're at 12 o'clock. And you just drive through it.
I love that
right
wait for 12 o'clock concept. I think that's just absolutely awesome.
Anyway.
Now, there's a lot of people that really focus on systems. In other words, they bring people in, they throw them into systems. And then there's other people who focus on, they have a process, but it's more relationship oriented. I'm guessing that yours is a little bit more relationship and coaching oriented.
Yeah, it is. I think that's really the key, because systems tend to be, well, you're going to buy this package of leads from me, you're going to call these people, you're going to say this script, you're going to do this thing, that's a lot more mechanical. It's not very humanistic. It doesn't really relate to people.
Have you seen that? Have you seen that work? Or
well, it does for a while. But the problem is in network marketing, you're dealing with your family and friends and neighbors, and hopefully you're dealing with the people you care about most. If you think it is a scam and it's a pyramid and you don't want to talk to anybody that's a big red flag. You better exit that situation. I have people come in and say, well, I don't want to talk to anybody I know.
Right.
I'm like, well, what? Why?
Right.
You don't believe in it. You don't believe in the system. You don't believe in the products. You don't believe in the industry. I mean, what you just want to run out there and take advantage of a bunch of people? Is that how you're viewing it? I mean, if that's the way you're viewing it, you're all screwed up.
Right.
I don't got time to work with you because you don't believe it.
Right.
And you better not do it if you don't believe it.
Yeah.
And so you should talk to the people you care about most if you really believe it.
Right. For sure.
So friends, family, neighbors, contacts, it's FFBC.
Right.
Those are the 4 networks everybody has. Okay. Friends, family, business, community. Okay. And I just want them to, think about those 4 groups and we're going to write down names, and we're going to go to the hottest family member, the hottest friend, the hottest business contact, and the hottest community contact.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
And start down the road.
Then we're going to start 4 groups, and we're going to see what happens.
Now let me ask you this. There's so much happening today with social media, Facebook and Twitter, and people are connecting, and they're developing substantial, not warm markets, but medium warm markets. They're not cold. They're developing real relationships with people. What do you see as far as some people being able to use that tool?
Those are all good initial ways to make a contact, but it really comes down to personal conversation.
Right, I agree with that.
Right, I mean that's just another way that they're part of a network of yours, a friend of yours, a family member, a contact. Sure, those are all great things. Okay, but then it comes down to talking to people. I mean, we make extensive use of Skype. We do that all the time as a new tool on the web that we can use to have face-to-face conversations with the video portion, or just voice conversations, share files, whatever, okay? So there's lots of things you can do from a technology point of view, but it comes down to that person. That person's got to believe that they're going to have a future here, that there's an opportunity here. And so that comes down to me relating directly with that person and saying, listen, this is a partnership,
Right.
You push on the gas, I'm going to push on the gas. You let off, I'm going to let off. Because my time's my most valuable asset I have. Especially,
I love that you couldn't afford me.
Yeah, well, for most people, they're starting part-time anyway, right?
Right.
So that 1 hour a night they have, or weekends or evenings, that's when they're going to start building their business. They're working for the man still 8 hours a day. So time is really limited. Time's their most critical asset. They can't afford to waste any time. So if you see somebody pulling back, you got to pull back and go put your time someplace where you're going to get the return with people that get it.
Right.
Okay? And I just tell people, I'll match you energy for energy.
Right.
Whatever energy you're going to put in, I'll match it. You put it in, I'll put it in. You pull back, I'm going to pull back.
Yeah.
So just realize that's going to be the partnership. That's going to be the relationship. And if I'm not working in your group and in your downlines, believe me, I'm working in somebody else's.
Sure.
If I'm not working in yours, I'll be out creating your competition.
Right.
That's what's going to happen.
Well, you mentioned working for the man, and you mentioned the challenges that people have, especially in our economic situation, working for other people, small business ownership, sales careers, blue collar, all these incredible challenges that are in those arenas.
Right.
Our economic situation is worldwide. It's certainly changed. The rules have changed. What do you see as far as what's going to happen this era of network marketing in this economy? What do you see as what's going to happen? What's the big opportunities? What are people going to be looking at?
The economy is changing, and today the world economy is a lot more integrated than it was 20 years ago. When I started this industry, there was a day when you could get commissions out of different countries, and if one country had a recession, it didn't affect the other countries, and it was this really nice, diversified income stream, right? Well, today it's all interrelated. So everybody's getting hit today, and we're in an unprecedented time. And nobody wants to say the D word, but we're basically in a depression, okay? It's ugly, and it's going to get a little bit worse, through 2009 before it starts to get any better. And we're going to see thousands of banks fail this year in this country and around the world. Europe is probably in a worse situation than we're in right now. So it's really tough, and that just creates a tremendous pool of people that 2 years ago wouldn't even listen to us. 2 years ago, they could put a house under contract and make 20 grand before they even closed on it. Why work?
Right.
It was fluff. It was fantasy. It wasn't reality.
Yeah.
So today, there's really hard realities facing people. And the good thing about that is that we have some real solutions for people. So that's the good news.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, today people are not looking for investment opportunities because they don't have any money to invest. Right. They're looking for income opportunities. And that's what this industry provides people. We give people an immediate ability to create income. And that's what people are looking for. So in times like this, we do really well.
Do you see us? I think we need to be able to we have an opportunity to tell the story. And I think we need to do a better job of somehow saying to the world, look, the scariest place to be in the entire world, the most insecure place to be in the entire world is working for a company.
Right.
Today.
I'll tell you the 2 reasons that network marketing is the best business vehicle on the
Please.
planet. Okay? And these are not really discussed openly in our industry.
Oh, great.
But this is after, my small brain thinking about this for 20 years, okay? I mean,
$40 million worth of results, all right.
These are two things that make a lot of sense. And, if there's anybody who's, a corporate chieftain who's listening to, this interview at some point, or a business owner, you're going to understand this. You're going to hear this right now and understand it, okay? So number one reason is that this industry is completely efficient. That's why people like me can make a lot of money, okay? Because I've been here 20 years, doing it every day. I don't really take a whole bunch of breaks. I'm just consistent because I love the business, because I love people, because I want to help them be successful like I've been.
Right.
Okay? So here's the number one thing. If you're a slug and you work in a big company and you're kind of hiding in there and you're hoping nobody finds out about you because you're a slug and you don't even really produce anything, you actually distract people that are trying to do their job.
Right.
You're kind of a disruptive person. Huge corporations are full of these kind of people. They're hiding out in these companies, and right now they're trying to find them and get rid of them.
Right.
Because those people are dead weight. And if you're a productive person and you work in that same big company, you're hauling that unproductive person on your back. You're trying to produce enough for you and to pay their salary. Okay? And big companies, by their very nature of the traditional employer-employee structure of the world that's been out there for 100 years, that model is becoming more and more broken because it has to carry lots of unproductive people. Now, if you can, have an inefficient system like that, and you could change it, and you could make it completely efficient, and in this business of network marketing, the reason it's efficient is I don't get paid anything unless I produce.
Right.
Period.
Right.
It's completely efficient. I don't have to haul anybody on my back. And so if you're a productive person, and you're working in one of those big companies, and you finally recognize all this, and you recognize how many people that really don't produce anything in those companies, they just sit there and push paper, or go to meetings, or push memos and take a salary home, and the company has to pay their benefits and their overhead and their insurance and everything else, and you realize that you're paying for all that with your productivity. That's a nightmare. That drives you crazy. So what happens, it's like insurance pools. Health insurance pools, your health insurance goes up and up and up because over time, the healthy people exit and the pool just gets stuck with all the sick people. And that's kind of the way big companies are, is that, smart people that go, I don't want to carry everybody, they start looking for opportunities that are more efficient, where they can get paid more what they're going to produce, okay? They're not afraid of being paid for production.
Right.
They want to be paid for production. They're confident people. They leave all the slugs and the non-producers in those companies. And they get worse and worse and worse as time goes on, because good people go, there's better ways, I'm out of here, I'm exiting, okay? And so that's why it's becoming more and more broken as time goes on. And more productive people are going to find their way to places where they can be more closely compensated with what they know they're producing. Okay, well, if you want to be completely compensated, totally tied to what you produce, network marketing is your vehicle. There's nothing that's more efficient in the economy, and that's why you can make so much money.
Right.
Okay, so that's a really important point, is why people need to think about that, okay? And it ties to the second point, and that is there's so few things out there. There's really no other business vehicles where I can give you the same exact opportunity I have. So if you think about a small business, you can't do it. There's the owners and there's the employees. And the employees will never be motivated like the owners are.
No, never.
The owners are the first ones there. They're the last ones to leave. They turn off the lights when nobody else does. They pay everybody else, and if there's anybody left, they pay themselves.
Right.
And they can't make everybody the owner.
Right.
Okay, there's just not enough to go around to do that. And that's the flaw. Okay? In this industry, everybody's an owner. Everybody owns their own distribution business, so to speak. So everybody can have the same opportunity. I've got numerous people that are underneath me in my downline, in my network, that make more money than me.
Yep, me too.
Okay, and that's the ultimate proof. It's not a pyramid scheme. In a pyramid scheme, the top guy's going to make the most money no matter what. What you really have with real network marketing is just a production cube. And if somebody wants to build a bigger production cube of volume than my cube, they're going to make more money than me. It doesn't matter if they're underneath me, above me, whatever it is.
They got their own business, right?
That's right. So I can give every person the exact same opportunity, and that's really, really rare. That you can empower somebody to have exactly what you have.
Right.
It's really pure. It's
Fascinating.
very good.
I love that, and I think we need to tell that story better to the whole world.
Yeah.
We tell it to each other. We need to tell it to the whole world. Hopefully, this will be a part of that. Let me ask you this: you've been around for 20 years. You made $40 million. You've helped hundreds of thousands of people, I'm sure, around the world. During this process, was there any major defining moment, some moment where something just clicked and you went, oh, and then your business was completely different from that point forward? I'm sure there's many.
Yeah, I mean, over time, you obviously have different experiences with different people and different scenarios, but I came out of the real estate industry, and when I had first joined this company that I'm involved with now, I went out and I started calling my friends, and I called a friend of mine that I used to do very large deals with,
right,
$1 million deals with, and he worked at Coldwell Banker, and so I called him up and I said, I'm going to come down and talk to you. I got to show you this. And I remember walking in to his office, and he was busy, and the secretary said, go in the conference room, he'll be in a minute. And I remember sitting there with my bag and my products and stuff, and I'm thinking, okay, I'm gonna, pitch this guy on this, and he's a friend of mine, and I'm gonna make it happen. And he came in the conference room and he goes, what's up? I'm real busy. What's going on? What do you got? And I said, well, I've got this thing that I am really excited about. I think it's the greatest opportunity I've ever seen in my life. And he goes, well, what is it? And I said, give me your hand. And I grabbed his hand and I went, squirt, squirt,
right,
squirt, like that. And he just stopped and he kind of pulled his hand away. And the lotion's dripping through his fingers and it's going splat, splat on the glass tabletop. And he just looked at me and he goes,
you out of your mind?
What's happened to you?
Yeah.
What's happened to you? We used to do multi-million-dollar real estate
deals,
businessman, and you're selling hand cream, And I could kind of tell right then. I thought, he's going to destroy me.
Right.
He's going to steal my dream. He's going to crush my confidence, my ego. I didn't have the words to say. I didn't know what to say. I didn't know how to combat him, with what he was saying, and I could tell that he was sincere in what he was saying, but he was also being a little vindictive. He was kind of being a little bit
mean.
Yeah, mean-spirited maybe, or whatever, And maybe it was he just said, oh, this is another one of those network marketing deals or whatever, and I'm going to crush this guy or whatever. And I don't know that he was intentionally doing it, but it was kind of happening that way, and I felt threatened. I thought, I'm doing this and I want to do this, and I think I understand why I'm doing this, but now I'm not sure why I'm doing this, now that he's right here in this moment, right in my face, And I just said, I'm really sorry. This is a mistake. And I said, I'm going to leave. And I just packed up all my stuff, and I walked out, and I was so angry at myself. And I remember going down the elevator, and I get into the parking structure, and I'm so mad. I remember I opened that car door, and I took that bag, and I threw that bag as hard as I could, and I smacked against the other door and fell down on the floor. And I sat there just white-knuckled, gripping the steering wheel, and I'm thinking to myself, why didn't you say something?
Right.
Why didn't you defend yourself, And it was really a frustrating moment. And I remember I had one audio tape from a person in our company.
Right.
It was the only thing that was out there at the time. And I remember 2 minutes later, I'm driving down the road and I'm listening to that audio tape and I'm trying to get my attitude back. Because I really am shaking. I'm shaking. I'm like,
right.
I don't know why I'm doing this for sure, How am I going to overcome that?
Right.
And I just remember listening to what that person was saying on that audio, and I was thinking to myself, that's why I'm doing it. Right there. That is why I'm doing it. Why didn't I say that?
Right.
Why didn't I say I'm doing this because I don't want to do deal after deal after deal and be unemployed every time I close a transaction like you and I have been for the last 5 years of our lives and have to start over from zero every time we close a deal and find the next deal or we're unemployed. I don't want it anymore. I want residual income. I want to be free. Why didn't I say that? And so that was a really defining moment for me.
So
that's when I kind of decided, you know what? That's why I'm doing it.
Right.
I'm doing this to be free.
Right.
It's not about hand cream.
No.
It's not about pills. It's not about supplements or a juice or anything else.
Right.
I'm doing it so I can be free.
Right. Well, I will tell you, I think that's good. I think we've all had those. We've all had several of those. Do you need to get that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll grab it. Sorry about that.
That's okay. I'll just wait until it's done. Okay. Well, I think we've all had those moments. I've had those moments several times. I mean, you have self-doubts. You go through in any business, as you're building and you're growing.
Right.
Well, let me ask you this. I mean, first of all, I appreciate you taking the time and sharing some of your information. I think a lot of this was really, really valuable information. But do you have a particular message? Is there something that you're known for as far as what you consider your core message in this network marketing profession? And if you have something like that, if you look in the camera and we got thousands and tens of thousands of people that will be watching this program right now. What would you say to them if they're either looking at the profession or they're involved in the profession? If you have a message, why don't you give it to them?
Well, I think the key really is that you've got to decide that you're going to do it. You got to decide that you have enough courage that you want to be free.
Mm.
And I guess the main message I have, really for everybody who might be listening out there, the main message is, don't be afraid. Have faith. Faith and fear can't coexist in the same body. So if you're full of fear, you don't have any faith, okay? It takes faith. You got to believe in yourself. You got to believe that it can happen. And sometimes you're doing that against all odds, against spouses that don't want it to happen, friends that don't think you can do it, people that have never done this but think they know better and are going to tell you all about it and why it won't work, okay? You got to believe in yourself enough, and you've got to be consistent enough that you can, keep putting one foot in front of the other. And if you do that, then what happens, and what's really critical, is that eventually you'll start to understand how to make it work. You'll figure it out, okay? And then as you figure it out, it'll make you free. That's really been my message, I think. My message has been to people, don't trade your life away. That's the big risk, is that you trade your life for a pittance. You rent your body and your brain to somebody else for nothing. For what? So you can start over in January with nothing and hope that you still have a place to go show up? What's so great about that? Where's the security in that? There is none. It's an illusion. The only security is in you, right here and right here. That you're willing to be focused and consistent, and you're willing to exercise faith. And if you're willing to do those two things, you can do it.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate you taking the time. Ladies and gentlemen, here's what I would ask you to do. With great information like this, and there's going to be much more coming, at the end of this program, comment. Put your comments. Did you like it? Did you hate it? Did you agree or disagree? Do you have any follow-up questions for me? I'd be happy to answer in future shows. I'd be happy to do that. But please be part of the discussion. Be part of this process of helping our profession go to the next level. So to close, what I will do as always is my hope for you is you decide to become a network marketing professional. I hope you decide to go pro. If you do that, we can be the change that we're looking for in this great profession. Everybody take care, and from St. George, Utah, we'll see you next time. Bye-bye. All right. You rock, man.